They want you to keep dancing, to keep spinning in circles with invisible chains, smiling through the pain, apologizing for every twitch, every flicker of rebellion. But what if you stopped? What if you didn't care who's watching? What if you didn't explain your every move to the crowd? What if you burned the stage and walked away from the applause because you're done performing? The puppet masters, they lose their power in silence, because power depends on control of your mind, your will, your soul. And when you take that back, piece by piece, string by string, you become something else entirely. A wild thing, unpredictable, dangerous. Imagine a stage, but you're not the one holding the spotlight. You're a marionette, strings tangled around your limbs, dancing to a tune you didn't choose. Invisible hands pull at your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. You move, but not because you want to. You're controlled, not by a person you see, but by a system designed to keep you in line, quiet, obedient. The world smiles and calls it normal. But this is a cage made of invisible threads, threads spun by the media, the government, society itself. And you're the puppet, unaware of the strings tightening with every step. People ask, why don't you just break free? But how do you fight what you can't see? You apologize for your anger, for your truth, for the way your strings pull you in directions you never chose. You explain, you justify, you bend, because you think it's your fault. But it's not. The joke is on you, because the world is laughing behind the curtain, watching you dance like a fool. They don't want you to cut those strings. They want you tangled, confused, and begging for approval. This isn't freedom. It's a tragic comedy. So ask yourself, who's really pulling your strings? And when will you finally stop dancing for their amusement? Look back through history. Societies weren't built on freedom. They were built on control, obedience, and the slow, silent breaking of the human spirit. Schools taught you to sit, to listen, to obey. Governments created laws to keep you in line. Media fed you stories that shaped your thoughts, telling you what to fear, who to hate, how to think. All these systems, like skilled puppet masters, pulling strings so tight, you forget you ever had a choice. Religion, another string wrapped around your soul. Guilt and shame used to keep you kneeling. The mirror they handed you, it's cracked. A broken reflection showing a fragmented self. They made sure you'd never see your full face, only the pieces. They wanted you to believe in normality became a cage disguised as comfort. If you're not stable, not acceptable, you're told to apologize, to shrink, to disappear. And so the strings tighten. But here's the truth, the puppet masters don't want you to know. You were never meant to dance to their tune, the control you feel. It's a lie, a carefully crafted illusion, and the first step to freedom, seeing those strings for what they are. Let me tell you about the puppet master's playbook. Cold, ruthless, and invisible. They don't yell or threaten. No, they use whispers, gaslighting, making you doubt your own mind, propaganda, feeding you lies wrapped as truth. Fear, the sharpest string of all, pulling tight to keep you frozen. Every time you hesitate, every time you question, they tighten those strings. Because a puppet that thinks it's free, that's the deadliest kind of puppet. They want your head bowed, your voice silenced, so they provoke guilt. You owe this to us. They provoke shame. You're the problem. They provoke fear. Without us, you're nothing. But the Joker laughs at this. They think you're fragile, easy to bend. They don't realize the madness that brews when you finally say, no more. Saying no is the first cut to those strings. It's the rebellion they fear the most. The system wants you tangled, helpless, obedient, lost in the dance. But every time you resist, every time you refuse to be their puppet, you reclaim your power. And power, my friend, is the most dangerous thing in their puppet show. Breaking free isn't easy. It's a messy, brutal fight inside your mind. You'll feel the pull of old habits, the comfort of the strings, even if they choke you. Because freedom demands you face the unknown. You might lose friends, be called crazy or worse, be ignored like a ghost. But the moment you stop dancing for their applause, the moment you cut even one string, you begin to rewrite your story. You're no longer their puppet. You're the author of your own chaos. And chaos isn't a curse. It's a raw, untamed power. The Joker knows this. Embracing madness to find truth, shattering illusions to discover freedom. So take a step back. Look at your strings and ask yourself, are you living your life or are you just dancing to someone else's tune? The choice is yours. The Joker wasn't born from chaos. He chose chaos because it's the only place where he's truly free. You don't need permission to be yourself. You don't need approval to speak your truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for cutting the strings that bind you. Freedom isn't polite. It's not easy. It's messy and loud and sometimes terrifying. But it's the only way out of the puppet show. So here's my challenge. Look at your life. At the people, the systems, the voices pulling your strings. Which strings will you cut today? How long will you keep dancing to their tune? And what story will you tell when you finally step off the stage? Your truth is waiting in the chaos. Stop being a puppet. Start living. If you've ever felt controlled, manipulated, or trapped, share your story below. Tell me about the strings you've cut, or the ones you're still fighting to break free from. Because we're not alone in this dance. And sometimes, the loudest rebellion starts with a single voice.